Charizard has gotten its best placement in Generation 9, almost winning the most recent regional championship in Europe, and we're going to be trying it out and seeing how well it can perform. This is a Charizard Jumpluff Sun team that has been doing really well recently, and its best accomplishment has been getting second place at the most recent regional championship in Europe, piloted by Marco. Let's break it down. Let's start off with the Torkoal. We have the Drought ability that sets up the sun, a very important part of this team. And this has the Eject Pack, which we have seen win a regional championship in previous regulations and ended up almost winning one of the Regulation H regional championships as well. With that Eject Pack, you can switch out through an Intimidate. You can also use the move Overheat here. That takes the advantage of lowering your special attack, so the Torkoal can switch out immediately, allowing for some very interesting pivoting with this team. This one is a bit different though. This one's just a standard max special attack, max HP variant, and it is able to do quite a bit with that Eruption Overheat, just without that charcoal boost that we commonly see on Torkoals that take advantage of Trick Room. This one more of a utility mon, helping hand support that can really power up the Charizard as well as any of the other attackers in this team. And it is a very strong Pokemon that can do a lot of damage, but also, and more importantly, positional with the Torkoal, getting in a free switch to Ursaluna or Charizard. Next, we had the Jumpluff with the Chlorophyll ability with the Cover Cloak to prevent fake outs from occurring into the Jumpluff, which is very important on this team. And it can really just threaten, especially with either the fast Tailwind, Sleep Powder, or just still be able to redirect or reset the weather on this team. You have Sleep Powder, Tailwind, Sunny Day, and Rage Powder. And it's interesting that there is no grass move or attacking move on this team in general, but the Jumpluff doesn't need it. You're really just relying on your other Pokemon, and this is just supposed to be a really heavy support Pokemon to help out with the Charizard, especially alongside some of the other threats. The Tera Fire is the interesting Tera on the Jumpluff, but it helps because Jumpluff is usually very weak to the Ice and the Fire type attacks out there, which are the more common ways to hit the Jumpluff, and having that Tera Fire option does allow you to tank stuff like Incineroar, Flare Blitz, as well as other very common attacks. Next, we have the Charizard, one of the star members of the team with the Solar Power Choice Specs. And normally we would see maybe like a Hisuian Typhlosion with that Ghost typing, but instead this Charizard doesn't have to rely on the HP to do damage, because Typhlosion does rely more on its Eruption, but Charizard can really just dish out as much damage as long as the sun is up with that Solar Power and Choice Specs, so it doesn't have to play towards a full health win condition. Can really just launch really powerful heat waves and overheats in the sun that could just nuke even resistances, which is incredible. The Weather Ball is pretty nice as well as a single target attack. It's stronger than Flamethrower while under the sun, and then Dragon Pulse to be able to hit dragon types, especially like Garchomp and Dragonite, with that Tera Ghost to play around potential fake outs as well if necessary. But this Charizard can just do a ton of damage, and that speed tier is actually pretty important. Base 100, that little bit of a difference can really stack up, allowing Charizard to be able to always outspeed huge threats such as the Nihilate, Golden Go, and a lot of other common Pokemon in the format. Next, we have the Porygon 2. It's pretty standard Porygon 2. Otherwise, you have the download ability with the Violite with Terra Fighting, and very standard otherwise. The Terra Fighting just helps out against King Gambit, which is always pretty solid, and can hit Incineroars, which is nice because Incineroar is probably one of the best ways to switch around the Charizard. You have that Terra Blast that can hit really hard, Ice Beam for coverage against Pokemon that do resist the fire type attacks, especially the Dragon Pokemon like the Garchomp, the Dragonite, and more. Recover, of course, to keep the Porygon 2 around, and Trick Room for a secondary mode of this team that can pair well with the Torkoal, and especially this Ursaluna. This Ursaluna, just a standard one with the Guts ability with the Flame Orb, so it can activate the Guts and really do some really strong damage with that powerful Facade that doubles in power. Headlong Rush as a single target ground type attack. The Earthquake for some spread damage if necessary. You also have 2 flying types, so you do have immunity. And Protect, of course, to activate a Flame Orb and keep itself around. The Tera Ghost option, pretty standard, again playing around Fake Out, so you could take advantage of those valuable Trick Room turns. Finally, we have the Incineroar, which is of course a great partner to Porygon 2 and Ursaluna, especially with that parting shot allowing Ursaluna to come in more safely. We also have a very offensive Incineroar, and this is to take advantage of the sun, because Incineroar actually does some pretty good damage with its decently high attack stat, and then with Flare Blitz being able to do a ton of damage in the sun with that power can really stack up. So having that offense can allow it to KO a Moongus in one shot, for instance, which is nice. And this Incineroar pretty standard. Otherwise, you have the Tera Ghost, of course, to help out against the fighting type attacks, as well as the fake outs. You have Flare Blitz, Knockoff, Parting Shot, Fake Out, all great utility moves. And then Citrus Berry is the only interesting thing on Incineroar. Normally we would see Safety Goggles, but because you have a bunch of fire type attackers, you have an Ursaluna with Flame Orb, you also have a Spore immunity in the Jumpluff. Overall, you might not need the Safety Goggles as much because it's harder to bring a Moongus in this matchup just because of the sun stuff. So you might as well just have a item that's really good utility wise in general that comes to more matchups, and Citrus Berry really allows Incineroar that's normally tanky, and especially because of the fact that you are running a bit less bulk on the Incineroar, you have that Citrus Berry for recovery, can be very nice for allowing Incineroar to survive a crucial double up. This rental was posted by one of the friend groups who did help Marco construct the team, so it might not have been the exact EV spreads, but I would say it would probably be pretty close to what they all use and the version that Marco brought to the Regional Championship. We have a lot of really strong tools and modes that you could go for. I think what's really interesting about this team and the way it's constructed, I think you have obviously the two different modes. You have the Trick Room mode with the Porygon 2 Ursaluna, and you even have the Torkoal that could take advantage of it. But you also have this like really fast mode with Jumpluff Charizard that can really break through a lot of the slower balanced teams out there. And what's really cool about this team is the way you can position into Ursaluna. So not only you have the standard Incineroar, you have the Parting Shot that can help with getting in Ursaluna safely so it can get that Flame Orb, because the thing about Ursaluna is if you do lead it, it does of course usually have to go for Protect on a turn to activate its Flame Orb. But with Parting Shot, of course, you can help mitigate that and set up the Flame Orb immediately, so you can like lead Porygon to Incineroar, go for Parting Shot, get into Ursaluna. But another thing you could go for with this team is that eject pack on the Torkoal could actually allow the free switch to Ursaluna. You could lead something like the Porygon 2 plus the Torkoal. You could go for the overheat and then try to get that free switch into the Ursaluna to have an immediate pressure and take full advantage of the 4 Trick Room turns. So that's what I really like about the construction of the team, is you have multiple ways of getting an Ursaluna, which is a Pokemon that can be hard to position sometimes. You also have a really cool mode, of course, with the Jumpluff Charizard and the Jumpluff Torkoal mode. You have Sunny Day that can really help out against the rain teams, and be able to set Manual Sun is incredible against Pokemon like Orcaladon, as well as the Pelipper, which is nice. And really just Jumpluff is already a fast Pokemon that is able to outspeed the Charizard naturally. So with that Sunny Day, you could set up for the Charizard, go for Jumpluff Charizard lead. You're not always forced to lead the Torkoal or find a position to set up for the Charizard. You could just lead it immediately, go for a Sunny Day with Jumpluff, and even you don't even have to bring the Torkoal in scenarios where Sun is nice but the Torkoal isn't that great in the matchup. So I think it's really cool constructed right there. So you have two different modes with the very powerful Charizard mode and the Ursaluna mode. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. Corviknight, Sneasler, Garchomp, Alolan Ninetales, King Gambit, and Magmar. All right, I have a feeling this is probably just going to be coaching Sneasler with the... Actually, is this Choice Scarf Garchomp? It might be on this team. I could see it. I do think it's probably coaching Sneasler. I don't remember if I played against this kind of team before in last season. Huh. I do want to bring Charizard because Charizard's really strong if I'm able to set it up. The question is, can I set it up? There is a Garchomp, which I do have to fear and respect. So do I want to bring the Torkoal? Torkoal is nice, but Porygon is also really good here. I could also decide not to bring Jumpluff, which actually is pretty fair. I think it's probably like Porygon, Incineroar, Torkoal, and Charizard. Yeah, I don't think I mind this. If they go with like King Gambit lead, it's okay because I do have Terra Fighting on my Porygon, so that's acceptable. I'm not really worried about Corviknight with Torkoal and Charizard. I guess it depends on their Terra. If they have Terra Dragon or Terra Water, it's not great. Terra Fire would also not be great since we're bringing triple fire type into their team, but not much. We'll see what we can do here. It really depends on Terras, because with what I'm bringing, it's pretty weak to Terra Fires, and I could definitely see it being Terra Fire Garchomp or Terra Fire on the Corviknight. So these are Garchomp leads, not too surprising. All right, versus Incineroar and the Porygon. All right, good lead, good start. So let's see. Where is... Okay, Intimidate activates. Affects both, no clear amulet. That's good to know. An attack boost. All right. My best play is probably just to go for a Trick Room right off the bat and go for a knockoff into the Sneasler. Yeah, both of these Pokemon are -1, so I'm not like too worried about the damage. They go straight for the coaching. This could be coaching stomping, which is okay. I don't really mind that too much. Because they don't have a really good switch to Eruption Ice Beam, again, other than Terrace. So we're going to see the Stomping Tantrum into the Incineroar. Actually picks up the knockout. All right. Incineroar goes down. Maybe I could have went Charizard there. Now that I think about it, Charizard might have been an okay play. But we will bring out the Trick Room. And I still think that this is an okay spot. Like, I don't see why I don't just go out into Charizard and I start going for damage with like Heat Wave and Tri-Attack. Or Terra Blast, not Tri-Attack. I don't know if the Garchomp protects. Sneasler might not have protect, so I'm going to focus my efforts on the Sneasler with Heat Wave into Terra Blast. And let's just start dishing out the damage, because I do want damage onto that Sneasler and get rid of it if it doesn't have protect. Garchomp might have protect and might go for it because they don't know about... Because I don't know if you would go for a Tera here. You have to be very confident in the Tera and the Garchomp. Like fire or maybe water in this scenario. But it's okay because Heat Wave getting some damage built up on the Garchomp. I think the double up KOs the Sneasler. I'd hope that Choice Specs Heat Wave into Terra Blast does pick up that knockout, but we'll see. Sneasler's... Yeah, so they protect the Garchomp. Not to reveal their Terra just yet. Install out Terra Trick Room. Terra Blast into the Sneasler. Heat Wave should KO, yeah. Heat Wave. The Sneasler goes down. Fantastic. Alright, so they have a plus defense Garchomp, which doesn't matter because I have all special attackers on the field. Who's coming out? Gambit? Magmar is fine. Yeah, Magmar's okay. I'm just gonna get damage. Like, I just need damage right now. I'm just gonna go for Terra Blast and Heat Wave, I suppose, into Garchomp. Because they're probably just clicking Follow Me, but maybe they reveal their Terra. And if they reveal their Terra, it's fine, because I get damage regardless. Like, I could see Protect on Magmar, Terra from the Garchomp attack. I could see just Follow Me and the Garchomp going for the Dragon Claw into the Charizard. Both are pretty acceptable. I don't mind either. Follow Me, I think, is a way more likely option since the Magmar isn't really heavily threatened right now, but let's see. That's so aggressive. I also crit the Garchomp. They risked this just to wisp the Porygon? Sure. Heat Wave comes out. Doesn't KO Garchomp, but puts in the Life Orb range. They go for Dragon Claw. Like, I think that's just a greedy risk. I think that's just such a greedy risk. Just for a Wisp. I mean, it works out huge for me. I'm not complaining, but I don't know if that risk was worth it. All right, who's the last? It's a King Gambit. If it's King Gambit, Oronite. All right. I don't Terra now. I'm just going to get damage into Magmar, I suppose, with the Terra Blast into the Magmar slot. We're going to go into Torkoal because Charizard, after Trick Room's over, Heat Wave or Dragon Pulse or whatever I want to click, gonna do some big damage. So focus down to Magmar. Get into Torkoal. I think because they're probably going to go for an attack, and I don't know if it KOs a Charizard, so I'm not risking it. Here comes Terra Blast. They go for bulk up. The Magmar attacked it, right? With like Heat Wave or something. Yeah, they had overheat. They went for it. Okay. Nice. And now I'm just going to go for a Eruption into Ice Beam, I guess, to Corviknight. No, I want a Terra. No, I want a Terra Blast, actually. I do want a Terra Blast and Eruption. Because we force the Corviknight Terra, whatever Terra it is. If it's Dragon, I guess I could have Ice Beam, but they might follow me with Magmar, so I'd rather Get that Ice Beam. I think as long as I get chip damage, the Charizard wins. It's Tera Fire. Okay. I think I'm still good. Magmar should protect if this is the case, but I get extra damage into Corviknight. Oh, they did follow me. Okay, this works. This works. So I get an Eruption off. I get some free chip damage into Corviknight. Not as much damage as I fought into Magmar, but sure. Terra Blast. Doesn't KO, but that's acceptable. Body Press into the Porygon is interesting. Okay. Freaking returns to normal. There's no Terra that changes anything. Well, I think you should Body Press, but I guess in the off chance you don't, I guess I should recover with Porygon, and I guess I'll go for a Overheat into the Magmar. Yeah, I'm going to Overheat the Magmar in case Eruption isn't enough, because like if they go for like a Brave Bird KO and a Porygon and they go for the Overheat into the Torkoal, I would rather want the Overheat and the repositioning. Because like if they Overheat the Torkoal, even at -2 is doing a decent chunk, and Eruption might not KO the Magmar based on the damage we saw. They overheats the Porygon, which is fine. A Body Press to knock out. I think it just comes down to does Charizard pick up the knockout into the Porygon? Or not the Porygon, the Corviknight, I guess. I do get the Overheat into the Magmar, which is going to pick up the knockout. Maybe I should have gotten for more damage into Corviknight. Or I should have Ice Beamed that one turn. But again, I did not expect him to go for that Wisp play. Alright, eject pack. I guess we do take an extra turn of solar power on my Charizard, but then again, it really shouldn't matter for the end game. All right, Charizard, time to do Charizard things. Actually, we live another turn, so they do have protect. I guess it's fine. Do we have one more turn of Sun? Actually, we might not have enough turns of Sun if that's the case. Oh no, we have 2 turns of Sun. Okay, so even if they have protect Corviknight for some reason, we're okay. Helping Hand, Overheat in the Sun. This is the power of Charizard. The power of Charizard. Show me the one shot. Show me the one shot. Overheat connects. Beautiful. We fried that bird. That's some fried Corviknight for dinner. That's just how powerful Charizard is. Even with the defensive Terra on the Corviknight, I think even that like little bit of damage I got earlier on was so crucial with that Eruption. That was just going to be that knockout. Because like how absurd that Overheat can really do from Charizard is insane with Sun, Solar Power, Choice Specs. So many multipliers, man. So many multipliers. What's a resist? What is a resist? Vivian, the Gliscor, Arcalodon, King Gambit with Ninetales and Incineroar. Fun fact, this might be the team I'm thinking of, and this is the team that won a online tournament. We actually featured this channel. I'm curious if this is my rental code because I actually don't know. Because I think I'm the only one with a rental code that's posted of this team available. But yeah, Gliscor. This team was really weak to, and I mean really weak to Sun stuff. So yeah, let's because if they don't get a Roar Bell up, they're in a lot of trouble. I think I want to lead Ninetales. What do I want to lead here? So don't throw here is definitely a good thing. Incineroar not really needed. I like Porygon because it's good against the Gliscor and the fighting types. They also have a big Terra fighting game Porygon 2 weakness. I think the combination is Jumpluff plus Charizard as the lead, have Torkoal in the back, and then Porygon as the last. Yeah, like I think this team actually is a really good matchup against this team. Mainly because they don't have any good fire switches. Unless they change the team. This could be like a completely different revamp of the team. Maybe they have like Terra Waters. Maybe they built it so it's actually stronger against special fire type attacks. Vivian Gliscor is going to be the lead. I am curious on how this is going to go. So Gliscor does get access to dual wing beat. It could Rage Powder Heat Wave. Well, Gliscor had U-turn, Terra Blast, dual wing beat, Earthquake. I think my best place is Sunny Day and Heat Wave, I'm pretty sure. So here's the thing. Vivillon can go for Sleep Powder. The Gliscor can't protect. If I go for Sunny Day, I KO the Gliscor, bring the Vivillon to Focus Sash. I could also Sleep Powder Vivillon, but then I don't KO the Gliscor unless I go for Overheat. I'm going to go for Sunny Day Heat Wave. I feel like Overheat might have been okay as well, but I don't think this is too bad. Heat Wave connects. Nice. So that's a big knockout into the Gliscor as well as the Vivillon brought to Focus Sash. If they go for Tailwind, that's fine because I have the Sun Up. That's a nice burn. It's not necessary. It might actually hurt me potentially, but that is helpful, I guess. Oh, they went for Tailwind. I would have actually preferred it not burning then. Because if that's the case, like even if they brought in Ninetales, I could have went for Tailwind plus switching to Torkoal. And then I'd be in a fantastic game-winning position. Granted, I'm not going to complain because it's still useful, but I don't know if that puts me in a better or worse spot. They couldn't Terra. We're going to see King Gambit come out, which is not too surprising. They have to Terra to King Gambit. Ninetales? Yeah, now I always get Sun Up, and I always should be able to... Should always be fine here. Like, Terra Ghost is not the play on the Charizard. I think I... Do I want to go for Terra Fighting on the Porygon? Probably not, because they have to Terra to King Gambit. So I think I could afford to Terra the Ninetales, go for Sleep Powder into the King Gambit, and go into Torkoal. This should always work here. Because I don't really see a response that they could go for coming out. Because now they won't get a Roar Envelop. They lost a Weather War. A Torkoal is in very safely here. A Sleep Powder going to really, really hurt this Gambit. They go for Freeze Dry Assurance into the... Or maybe it's Blizzard Assurance. Let's see. Get the Terra Fire. They did Terra to King Gambit. Okay. So because the King Gambit did go for the Terra, it means I probably don't knock it out in one hit, but now it's weak to Ice Beam from the Porygon. So all I need to do is either A, get rid of Ninetales, or B, just chip the King Gambit to put in the range of Heat Wave. They go for the Blizzard. In Sun, they can't freeze. Sleep Powder. We miss one, which is fine. Assurance is going to do a decent chunk though. Yeah, but a Blizzard again won't pick up the knockout. We'll go for a Sleep Powder into the King Gambit, I suppose. And I'm just going to go for a Overheat also into the Gambit. Like, we have a lot writing here. Like, the only way they get the knockout Torkoal is if, A, they dodge Sleep Powder and go for a double up in the Torkoal once again, or they go for Sucker Punch. And if we land the Sleep Powder, if they go for Sucker Punch, they haven't taken any sleep turns. I'm in a phenomenal spot. That's the case. And they do go for the Sucker Punch, which is fine by me. All right, Torkoal goes down. I get a free Sleep Powder. They go for Freeze Dry into the Jumpluff. Jumpluff now resisting instead of the quad weakness is pretty much chilling. And we hit the Sleep Powder. If we missed, it's not even that bad. Again, we could just Rage Powder Heat Wave, and I think we're in a very acceptable spot because they wouldn't be able to knock out the Jumpluff with a King Gambit attack. I don't think Terraflying Terra Blast would get it. And then because of that, Ninetales either has to attack, which means vulnerable to the moves from the Charizard. But yeah, let's just go for the Tailwind. So our Charizard outspeeds the Ninetales once their Tailwind expires, and let's go for a Heat Wave. If they go for Protect with Ninetales, it's fine because I can always just Rage Powder. They go for a Blizzard. Jumpluff avoids. Charizard just absolutely takes that. We get a Tailwind up. All we have to do is just hit the Ninetales to win. Maybe I should have Weather Balled. But it's fine. Now we just got to hit one of the two Heat Waves. If we double miss... It's still unironically like Porygon might just win the game still, even if that happens. The fact that we just bully here with Rage Powder Heat Wave, because they're probably just going to try to Sucker Punch to get out of this situation. They say sleep anyway, so I mean it didn't matter. They don't have goggles. We know they're Assault Vest based on the damage. Heat Wave going to come out, just blow up the Ninetales, blow up the King Gambit. And that is the game. I guess like another play I could have went for was like Overheat turn 1 into Gliscor, which might have picked up the knockout, and Sleep Powder to Vivian, because Vivian is vulnerable to Sleep Powder because of not being a grass type. So that's another way I could have probably played it out. So there were a few things. Obviously the burn sucked for my opponent because they couldn't win the Weather War, but I still think I was in an okay spot, especially with the Jumpluff going to be able to get Chlorophyll back up. Like, it wasn't like they were doing any crazy amounts of damage with Vivian, and the Vivian was just always threatened. Maybe it comes down to like some Sleep Powder misses, etc. at that point. But even then, like, Porygon 2 was still in a good position. Charizard would have still been in a fantastic spot. Even Torkoal by itself is still incredibly strong against the team. Like, it just seemed really rough. What am I looking at here? Toucannon? I think that's this mon. Is this Toucannon? No, Toucannon is a pre-evolution, right? No, it is. No, it is Toucannon because Trumpeak is the other one. Donphan, Rabaska, Gyarados, Probopass, and Hitmonchan? What am I looking at here? Alright, I want to bring Incineroar for the Intimidate, because I think most of these are physical attackers generally. Probopass is a bit weird as a rock type here. Yeah, I am not too sure. When in doubt for things, I have no idea what to expect. Incineroar Porygon 2 is generally a good lead for when you don't know what to anticipate. I think Torkoal is actually pretty good, and then Charizard is the last, because Charizard can break through the team as well. What am I dealing with here? Why is there a Toucannon? Specifically the Toucannon, but Hitmonchan and Probopass are also really weird mons. Let's see what text they have, because I do not know what I'm supposed to anticipate. Probopass plus the Gyarados, sure. If you have Stealth Rock on the Probopass, I'm gonna cry, man. All right. Intimidate's gonna be fired off. Do I want to go for the Tera with my Porygon to blast the Probopass immediately? I might. I think a special attack. Oh, I guess Gyarados has high special defense, and Probopass's special defense is probably like not too bad either. All right, I think I'm gonna Tera, because I would like to get rid of Probopass, and we're gonna. Do I want a Parting Shot immediately? I think I'm gonna Parting Shot the Gyarados. Gyarados gonna retreat, which is fine. I don't know what's coming in, but this works out. Toucannon, sure. I guess the thing is I did Tera in front of the Toucannon, so now super effective attacks, but I have no idea what to expect from Toucannon. At least we'll have a -1 physical attack and special attack on that mon. I don't think it gets any crazy abilities if I'm not mistaken. Porygon Teras. Iron Shot comes out. I'm not surprised I'm faster than a Probopass. I'm kind of curious if Porygon is, but I guess we'll find out the upcoming turn. I don't risk Charizard. I go Torkoal. Like, Torkoal is fine taking damage too. Like, Charizard can definitely sweep an endgame scenario anyway. We'll go on to Torkoal. Like, Probopass isn't known for its heavy offense. Alright, Tera Blast will come out into Probopass. Should do a lot of damage. 4 times effective. It is sturdy, okay. Could have doubled it up, but I didn't want Gyarados to get a free turn and attacking to protect. Okay. Does that KO the Torkoal? I'm okay with losing Torkoal. Like, I'm okay with losing Torkoal. This is a free Charizard switch now. I'm going to go Charizard. I'm clicking Weather Ball because I'm pretty sure Probopass gets access to Wide Guard. So we'll go for an Ice Beam into the Probopass, and we're going for a Weather Ball into the Toucannon. I have limited turns of Sun to work with, but it should be all right. Yep. I knew that this one had Wide Guard access, and I'm glad I knew. All right, Weather Ball comes out. Single target fire type attack into the Toucannon. Goodbye, Toucannon. All right, beautiful. So we're not going to see what it can do today, unfortunately, but Ice Beam will finish out the Promo Pass. It also caught like a Gyarados for more damage on the switch, or Rabaska. The Promo Pass is eliminated. It's going to come down to the Gyarados set, I think. Gyarados is a pretty big threat depending on its Tera. Like, I'm worried about Tera Flying Tera Blast specifically. Gyarados comes in. And the last is Hitmonchan. Alright, Intimidate gonna go off, but that shouldn't matter. God, does Hitmonchan have access to Inner Focus? I cannot remember. I'm going Incineroar for the Porygon, and I'm just gonna click Weather Ball. I think this is probably like what's a Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan does get access to Fake Out. I do know that. And they could Dragon Dance, so I want to make sure that I can negate their... I want to make sure that I can negate their attack boost if they do go for Dragon Dance, but also if they just go straight for the Waterfall, I'd rather have the Intimidate active. Intimidate on Gyarados. Yeah, it does get access to Inner Focus, so it won't take the attack drop. You see a Tera. Okay, who's Terraing? The Gyarados. Okay, that's a lot easier. Okay, it is Tera Flying Tera Blast. I had a hunch, but this works out really huge in my favor. Okay. Fake out into Charizard. That's a lot. Life Orb. That makes it easier. Is this Tera Blast? Okay, who's this going into? Okay, nice. Got a really good turn. Got a really good turn. Beautiful. It'll be Covert Cloak on the Gyarados and we'll be fine. We go for Weather Ball and a Hitmonchan. The fact that we know it's Life Orb means it's not Assault Vest, which makes my life so much easier. Because if it was Assault Vest, maybe it would live this attack and be able to fire off more damage. But because it's not... Oh, I guess they could have Quick Guard. Why do I always think of the worst case scenarios, man? I think I'll be able to live, though, with Incineroar. Okay, they protect the Gyarados. Do they protect Hitmonchan, too? No, they don't. So I get the Weather Ball into Hitmonchan. And that was the mon I unironically feared. Like, this mon I unironically feared. So Weather Ball in Sun. KOs Hitmonchan. Hit by Hitmonchan. Should be game, because we can now go for Parting Shot and Weather Ball into the Gyarados. I'm going to go for Parting Shot. It wasn't clearing me, though, right? We saw Intimidate happen twice. Yeah. They might get a double protect though. If they get a double protect, that means Charizard's not doing nearly as much damage. So that's something I have to fear here. But they didn't go for a double protect. Okay. Weather Ball. Oh, so much damage to Gyarados. Jeez. Focus Sash. I think my best play was switching out Incineroar now that I think about it into Porygon too. And just clicking Weather Ball if I expected to protect, but... Focus Sash Gyarados? Sure. I switch out the Incineroar. I go out into Porygon 2. I bring back the Incineroar. The Gyarados is at -3 now. I click Fake Out in Trick Room, and then I just keep spamming attacks into the Gyarados. And that will be a good game. I don't know what this game was, but... Luckily, did have some kind of a bit of knowledge about what the mons are, even though I wasn't able to completely see like what I was supposed to expect, but it worked out. Trick Room and Fake Out. They go for Protect. I saw it the Fake Out, but I get Trick Room up. I don't think Gyarados has a spread move that changes the game either, because Earthquake Crit's not knocking out the Porygon. So yeah, I just don't really see anything, because there is no spread move here that saves them in this end game. We'll go for Tera Blast knockoff. It really does not matter as long as we're clicking attacks into Gyarados. Battle's gonna be forfeited. Okay. We did not lose to the Promo Pass Hitmonchan team. That's a huge win in my book and a huge relief. Rotom Frost, Rillaboom, Colossal, Dragonite, Sneasler, and Alola Ninetales. If I'm not mistaken, isn't this Explosion? I think I've seen a team like this and it involves Explosion on the team. I think so. It should be Aqua Jet on the Dragonite then, which is okay. okay. Porygon 2 plus Incineroar look really good. Colossus is really tough for my Charizard, unfortunately. I can't really do anything with it. Do I like Torkoal though? Torkoal's not bad. Charizard is pretty solid. I'm trying to think. Am I bringing Jumpluff to this game? I feel like Tailwind would be nice, but it's not necessary. Yeah, and I don't really like the Sleep Powder interaction. I think I'm going to do Porygon 2 with Incineroar, and then back with Torkoal and Charizard. Granted, it's not the best when I'm bringing the Colossal, but if it is Explosion, it's a lot harder for them to utilize the Colossal. And then I also have Terra Fighting on the Porygon 2 I can go for if I really, really need to. So let's see what they decide to opt for. They don't exactly have an immediate counter either to Porygon 2 plus Incineroar. Like, I don't really see anything on their team that really stops this combination. Like, they lead the Colossal Dragonite, but this is a free Fake Out and a free Trick Room or Ice Beam, depending on what I want to go for. So we get Intimidate off, so if it's physical, that's nice. It's Inner Focus on the Dragonite, and Special Attack Boost is really good. I think I would like... Do I want the Trick Room up? Probably. I'm going to get Trick Room up. And I'm just going to Fake Out the Colossal. There's not really... I don't want to play greedy here. If there's Terra Ghost, so be it. I don't think that's that big of a deal, because then they wouldn't be able to activate a weakness policy. But yeah, I think this is a pretty safe Fake on a Colossal. Just prevent it from being able to move for this turn. And then I can throw a knockoff Ice Beam or a Terra Blast if I want to. They protect the Colossal, which is fair. Like, what was I going to do? Knock off the Dragonite? I could do that the next turn, so I'm not really too concerned. Let's see. What does Dragonite do? Does it have some tech move for Porygon Trick Room? It Aqua Jets the Instant, which is like, okay, you get the knock off an Instant, sure. But I do get Trick Room up. And I like the idea of just getting a Ice Beam into the Dragonite as well as a knockoff in the Dragonite, since I'd probably assume it's like a Solvest. I don't think it's probably Protect, and they could go for the Aqua Jet and a Colossal. I don't know if you're going to risk it though, because there was Terra Blast as an option from my Porygon. So, I mean, if they want to go for it, sure. The Colossal is going to be a +2 special attack, +1 attack. They go for a Terra. What Terra are you? Ground? Earthquake? I mean, if they go for Terra Ground, then that's fine. Also, if they get the speed boost, that means Charizard's super threatening to them, because Dragonites, they're now only fire resist. They go for extreme speed into Porygon, which is interesting. Okay. I do get an Ice Beam off into the Dragonite, which actually just picks up the knockout. Wow. I guess it wasn't a Solvest then? I thought it was. Maybe it's safety goggles for the Aqua Jet setup. They go for the Earthquake. They're at -1. I'm not expecting too much damage. Yeah. I was not expecting too much damage. I am able to eat back a Citrus Berry with the Incineroar. And then get a knockoff into Colossal, which means no weakness policy to have to worry about. Ice Beam is going to be effective for the remainder part of the game. They're going to bring out Rillaboom. If it's Rillaboom, that's fine. I'm just going to Parting Shot out probably. And click Ice Beam. If Sneasler comes in, that's okay as well. I don't see a problem of going for an Ice Beam into Colossal. And again, going for a Parting Shot into the Sneasler. You go for Protect, which means Protect Earthquake. But I get rid of the Colossal, sure. Alright, goodbye Colossal. And let's see, because Sneasler's now by itself, I don't have to worry about too much. I can double it up if I want to with Flare Blitz Ice Beam. If it's Ninetales for the weather control, I think they're absolutely screwed because I have Torkoal and Charizard waiting in the back. I'm feeling pretty good about this spot. Like, there are very few things I think that could screw me over right now. However, I am thinking of something that could... Oh, it's Rillaboom is the last. Yeah, they are 100% screwed then. Okay. Do I want to Terra here? Nah. Oh, it's Grassy Seed on the Sneasler. Okay. I guess I'm just going to Terra Blast the Sneasler and I'm going to Flare Blitz the... Well, I guess it's a Solvest Rila then. I mean, I'm going to double up the Sneasler, I suppose. Because, like, literally not much that they could do here. Like, I get to double up in the Sneasler and then it's just Charizard Torkoal sweeps in the bag. Like, Torkoal Charizard, they had no answers to because... I quad resist the grass moves as long as I hit attacks, but I could just go for Weather Ball and Eruption at this point and guarantee to win. There wasn't really anything they could do. They have high horsepower, but like it KOs in there, but then I just get Torkoal or Charizard. Rillaboom can't touch it. The Sneeze is faster because of the Grassy Seed on Burden, and then yeah, even when Trick Room expires, like what, you're gonna Dire Claw? You still can't break through the Torkoal efficiently. Maybe hope for an Overheat miss. It seemed really rough for them to actually come back in the game. Now we just Ice Beam Flare Blitz, and that's a team that just cannot be Porygon 2 Incineroar, at least with what they led and what they decide to go for. And that is why we don't use Colossal nearly as much either, because we saw how weak it was. All right, Blood Moon Ursaluna, Rillaboom, the Grimmsnarl, Annihilate, Sinistra, and Mousehold. All right, this is a very, very big setup team, but I don't think this is too bad. We have some really good power against this team, specifically with our Sun mode. They don't exactly have a good resist. Like the only resist is really the Annihilate. So gonna go with the Jumpluff. I think Jumpluff, or I could, do I even want to lead Jumpluff? I do threaten Sleep Powder, but I could also lead Charizard plus Torkoal, which seems really good here because Helping Hand plus Heat Wave and as well as a strong Eruption against this team is really powerful. You know what? Let's do Charizard and Torkoal because I'd have to click Manual Sunny Day with Jumpluff. I don't need to in this position. And I think in the back, I'm going to do I want to bring regular Ursaluna? It's not even that good against this team. It's probably like Incineroar, Porygon 2. Most likely Incineroar because I might as well have the extra Sun Power. And again, Ursaluna is good if it's like Tera Fire and Annihilate, which it probably should be like a Tera Fire. But then again, like if they Tera Fire anything that isn't Annihilate, like I'm still doing a ton of damage to Annihilate at the end of the day with Heat Wave. So let's see. A lot of this is going to come down to some items because there's safety goggles. Like where are the safety goggles is going to be a big one. They lead Grimmsnarl and Annihilate, which is not too surprising. Okay. Because I lead Charizard plus the Torkoal. I'm just going to go straight for a very powerful Heat Wave. And I could go for the Eruption, but I think I'm just going to fire off the Heat Wave. And I think I'm going to go for a Helping Hand with the Charizard. I want to say it does more damage, and I want to stack less Rage Fist on the Annihilate immediately. This could be like what? Thunder Wave, Protect. This could be Light Screen, Protect. This could be a Terra from the Annihilate if it's defensive and go for like a Bulk Up, which is fine. If they go for the Rage Fist immediately, it does not KO. It's only +1. So Charizard just seems like such a big threat to them. Like such a big threat. How are they going to get through the Charizard? Because this defensive team with no rain, like if they had rain like the Pelipper version, it'd be a lot harder, but we'll see. I can't underestimate the Annihilate. We're gonna see the Terra, gonna be the Terra on the Annihilate. Are you Terra Fire or Terra? It is Terra Fire. Okay, maybe I should have brought Ursaluna, but that's okay. All right, like you should still take a bunch of damage with Annihilate regardless. Helping Hand gonna come out from the Torkoal, as we're gonna see the Light Screen come out from the Grimmsnarl. Heat Wave connects on both. This should KO the Grimmsnarl at least. Does so much damage to Annihilate still. Yeah, that's a huge amount of damage. And then this is a Bulk Up. Yep. Okay. Alright. Good amount of damage for the start. Solar Power. But it's okay. We're going to see leftovers on the Annihilate. Okay. The thing is, if I'm doing a ton of damage to Annihilate, it shouldn't matter in the long term. But let's see. This is probably Mousehold with the Friend Guard up next. I probably should have brought Ursaluna though. Like Ursaluna would have probably been in a great spot. Because like I could have double swapped here to Ursaluna plus Jumpluff. Went for a Tailwind and got the Flame Orb Earthquake. And probably would have been a good game. Yeah, I probably should have brought the Ursaluna. Now that I think about it. But I still think that this is pretty acceptable. I could also switch out Charizard as well and click Eruption or Overheat the next turn, and that's definitely a ideal spot. Rillaboom coming in. What? Okay. They already Terra'd. I guess they want the extra healing? I could tear. Do they want me to tear the Charizard? Is this like a bait? Do they want to tear the Charizard? Or maybe they have Sinistra in the back. Maybe this is Sinistra back. If this is Sinistra back, I think my best play is to go out into Jumpluff and overheat the Rillaboom and not give an extra Rage Fist boost. I'm going out into the Jumpluff because +1 Rage Fist at 100 base power should not KO. I'm going to overheat the Rillaboom to cover for the Sinistra. Let's see. Maybe they just want the grassy terrain, but if they had Mouse Hold, I feel like they would have gone in and just protect. So let's see. Oh, it's Scarf. Okay, that's an interesting tech. There's no way they went for this and it wasn't Scarf. Okay, Rage Fist going to come out, which we should... Oh, we did not hang on. Huh. Okay. Overheat going to come out into the Rillaboom. Hey, that should be a Assault Vest. There's no way that... I mean... It's a Sun boosted Overheat. That has to be a Assault Vest, right? That has to be a Assault Vest, I think. Okay. I mean, I'm going Charizard. Yeah, I'm going Charizard. Maybe Charizard wasn't the right play because of the solar power hit, but I am expecting to go down regardless. It is going to be the leftovers on the Annihilate as expected. I think that's like max speed Rillaboom with Assault Vest. Like, that's what I'm assuming right now. I'm going out into Annihilate regardless, or Incineroar regardless, because I'm clicking Fake Out into the Annihilate. This is going to be tricky. Then again, I guess if because of how I made the play, it's a bit weird if Jumpluff went down, which I was expecting to go down at that range, but so be it. I'm going to go for Fake Out into the Annihilate and just click Heat Wave. Because Heat Wave is going to KO the Rillaboom. We stack up some pretty good damage on Annihilate. As long as we can't get Annihilate healed back with Drain Punch, I think we'll be okay. But a lot of this is going to be a what if, because the Annihilate is at +2 now. So Rage Fist is just easily going to KO everything on my team with a Rage Fist. Other than maybe Torkoal. Maybe Torkoal could live one. Not after a Heat Wave attack, though. Rillaboom going to retreat, which is fair, into the Sinistra. Yep, I had a feeling Sinistra was in the back. Okay. Fake Out into Annihilate. Heat Wave going to come out. Does a good amount of damage to Annihilate. We get the KO on Sinistra. I wish we had a flying movement or Scorching Sand would have been really good here, but not much we can do here. I guess the question is, what do I want to do? Do I want to knock off the Annihilate or do I want to take the KO on Rillaboom? Because I have very limited Sun turns, which is concerning. Rillaboom going to come in. This is going to be tough, actually, because this is a position where you would Fake Out the Charizard and you go for a Rage Fist and Charizard. If I sack Torkoal here, that means I always lose to Annihilate in the endgame. I think I gotta go for the KO on a Rillaboom, as bad as it is. I'm gonna knock off the Rillaboom and I'm gonna go into Torkoal. This is really bad, actually. The only way I get out of this situation, I think, is either A, I survive the attack from the Annihilate with Torkoal, which I think is very doubtful, or B, they Drain Punch the Rillaboom or they Drain Punch my Incineroar or buy me turns. So let's see if that can be a case. Bring out the Tower Ghost on Incineroar to avoid the Drain Punch and the Fake Out. They do Fake Out. They did Fake Out the Incin, which is interesting. They did Rage Fist the Charizard. I don't think we're living this. Oh, wow. We actually took it really well. Knockoff into Rillaboom, picks up the knockout. All right. We had to take a risk, unfortunately. We do have to take a risk. So who did they Rage Fist? I think I have to get this turn right. If they Rage Fist a Torkoal, my play is always to knock off the Annihilate and switch and protect the Torkoal. If they go for a Rage Fist and Incineroar, my best play is to switch out the Torkoal into Charizard. I think they always Rage Fist Incineroar because they can't protect, and it's not like the Torkoal can do much here. So I'm going to go Charizard, and I'm going to knock off. Even then, I don't know if I'm winning this endgame because the light screen is now amplified with the Annihilate being alone. Yeah, they Rage Fist the Incineroar, looks like. Okay. So we do lose our Incineroar. I guess the only hope is to go for Helping Hand Overheat. I do think the biggest mistake was not bringing the Ursaluna. Sun Fades, Grassy Terrain, and Leftovers. Unless the Grimmsnarl for some reason wasn't likely on this team, but I really doubt it wasn't. Where did it go wrong? I could have led, I guess, the Jumpluff because at least I threatened Sleep Power. The fact that I got KO'd on the switch, which is not what I expected at all. I could have also switched to Instant instead. Wait. Oh, that's why it was not KOing. I didn't realize this wasn't Defiant. It's Vile Spirit. Okay, that changes things completely because I couldn't Sleep Powder it. I mean, I could Rage Powder to threatening attacks, but... yeah, they have Light Screen up for 3 turns, less than the Grassy. I think I just gotta hope for a Helping Hand Overheat crit, right? Because Dragon Pulse does nowhere near enough. No way Dragon Pulse K. This is what? 210. No way Overheat does less than Dragon Pulse. The Helping Hand Overheat in the sun with Choice Specs. It's so much, actually. We actually had a chance to KO the Annihilate. Wow. Oh, was there any point in the game where I could have gotten a little bit more damage into Annihilate? I'm trying to think about like the turns, and I'm like, no, I had to take the KO on Rillaboom that one turn because if I didn't, they always had the Mind Game of Protect Drum Beating, and that was just always an auto loss. Incineroar never really got it. Yeah, I just didn't have a turn to really get any damage. Oh wait, actually, because it wasn't Defiant, I should pay attention to Intimidate earlier. I thought I got it Defiant. If I didn't Terra Ghost my Incineroar, I was fine. Then again, I want to KO the Rillaboom, which is concerning on that turn. I don't know, because I don't think it auto wins me the game either. I mean, we're just gonna get Rage Fisted here. They're gonna go for Protect to get a bit of Leftovers recovery. I think they're gonna KO, right? I feel like they have too many boosts, but I guess they're just playing safer. Like, this is always the safe-ish way to win. This is less than a light screen, but I think Overheat should be enough anyway. They Rage Fist. I mean, I think this KOs, right? There's no way this does not. Yeah. Okay. I guess I should have paid attention to the notes again before, because if I had realized that this wasn't Defiant, this is why you don't always assume things, then the game plan definitely could have changed. I just don't know if the Terra Ghost was worth it or not, because they faked out my instant that one turn. So if I didn't get the KO on Rillaboom, then the double up threat is still kind of concerning, but it might have been better regardless. I think maybe I should not Terra it. Dragapult, the Alolan Ninetales, Male Entity, Lilligant Hisui form, Water Tauros, and Torkoal. All right, dual weather is something here. All right, a lot of offensive tools. Let's see what we can do here, because Dragapult is a very scary mod to deal with. Incineroar is really good against Ninetales. Incineroar is just really good against the team in general. They only have the Tauros, but it doesn't really do much when I have Sun. So trying to figure out if Trick Room is a good brain because they have their own Torkoal, which makes Trick Room really weird. I don't think I want to bring my Trick Room mode against this team. Porygon by itself might be decent though, but it doesn't really Tera in this game because of the male entity. I think Incineroar is good. I think the Jumpluff is strong as well, since I could probably get Tailwind up against most of this team other than the Alolan Ninetales. I do have Tera Fire though. Don't think I bring the Ursaluna. It doesn't really do too much. I think I'm going to do Jumpluff plus Incineroar with Charizard and Torkoal in the back. I don't feel safe leading Charizard because Charizard is such a frail mon that it would take too much damage. So I'm going to lead with the Incineroar. Should be able to get a parting shot off. Gets an Intimidate off into quite a bit of their team. Tera wise, it's probably going to be the Jumpluff. I think Tera Fire is probably pretty good here unless they bring the Water Tauros as a lead and don't have their Sun mode. Because with Tera Fire, Ninetales can't do too much damage. The Torkoal I resist, so yeah. But we're going to see Male Entity and Dragapult. I'm curious on what's going to be coming out here. Okay. So I do get an Intimidate off into the Entity. Doesn't really matter. Do I want to? Okay, so I have a few plays I can go for. Torkoal switch Sleep Powder is not too bad. I could also go for the Tailwind right away. I don't mind sacking Torkoal because I don't mind sacking Torkoal because I could always set up Sun with Jumpluff. I think I'm gonna go Torkoal here. The only concern is I have no idea where the items are. I need to figure out if it's Scarf on the male entity. That's also a big thing. I think I'm going to go for a knockoff into the Dragapult, because I would love to get rid of a Choice Band, and that makes it easier for my Incineroar to take Dragon Darts. But also because I set up the Sun, I should be able to get the Tailwind up with my Jumpluff and then start going from there. All right, we see a Tera come out. Is this going to be male entity or is this going to be Dragapult? Going to be the Dragapult. Not too surprising. Going to be the Tera Dragon. All right, very powerful Dragon Darts coming out. So that's acceptable. What is the... Okay, so it's not Scarf entity, so I could have just went for a Tailwind or a Sleep Powder, but we do take the Dragon Darts. We actually took it pretty well with Torkoal and Incin. That's not Choice Band, is it? It's Life Orb. Okay, that explains why it's so much weaker. They go for Expanding Force, so that's going to knock out the Torkoal, but that's actually a pretty good deal for me. So, sure, we lose the Torkoal, but I think that's a pretty good trade-off because I am going to be able to get a knockoff into the Dragapult. So much damage, gets rid of that Life Orb as well. Yeah, that's not a bad trade at all. We can go out in a Jumpluff now, and we can threaten Sleep Powder into the male entity as well as a knockoff into the... We could Sleep Powder either mon. I like the idea of Sleep Powdering the entity because they're... I'm gonna think about this. I'd probably want to Sleep Powder the entity. You know, I'm gonna Sleep Powder and knock off the entity. I like the idea of going for the knockoff because I want to break Sash, and male entity would take a sleep turn. I could threaten like Sleep Powder to following turn. We're actually going to see a swap out, which is interesting. Oh, is this Ninetales? It is Ninetales. Okay. Ninetales coming is okay. Did they protect? But they're probably just going to go for an attack, I'd assume. And Forest. Wait, that actually works out huge for me. They tried to play around the Sleep Powder, but this works out huge because I do get the Sleep Powder into the Ninetales, which means... Hello, you are asleep now, and now I can also get a knockoff into the Ninetales and break that leftovers. What? Okay. Now I can go for a Sunny Day very safely, and I'm pretty sure I can go for a Flare Blitz into... I want to take the knockout of Ninetales. I have a few options. I could Tailwind immediately. I could Sunny Day start off. Because Phantom Force is not knocking me out by a long shot. I could also Sleep Powder to Dragapult. That actually might be what I do. Actually, I like the idea of Sleep Powering to Dragapult. Sleep Powder to Dragapult's fine. And going for a Flare Blitz into the Ninetales. You go for Phantom Force. Jumpluff takes it. Ninetales is a fast asleep. Sleep Power does land into the Dragapult, which is nice. Okay. Very, very good. Very, very good. And we are going to be able to get to the Flare Blitz KO into the Ninetales. And this should activate our Citrus Berry, which is also another positive. Okay. I mean, it's looking like a pretty good turn. I guess the question is like, what is the last move on the Dragapult is going to be a question. Does it have like Outrage or is it just Dragon Darts? It should be Male Entity always coming back in because I think you want to click Expanding Force while you have the option to. Lilligant comes out. Not what I expected. All right. Tera wise. No, this actually works out perfectly for me. I guess I go for a Tailwind. Well, they have Sleep Powder. That's the only issue with this strat. They have Sleep Powder. Wait, only one of the Entity or Lilligant can be sashed though. I like the idea of just setting up a Tailwind, and I'm just gonna go for a Tera Ghost Flare Blitz, I think. I really hope they're not Sleep Powering the instant. That is a possibility they go for. Should I just let them take the knock? Actually, I think I should just let them take the knockout. I'm gonna let them take the knockout into instant. If they protect, that's okay too, because I don't reveal that I'm Tera Ghost yet. Okay, that's actually good. Dragapult fast asleep. Tailwind comes out from the Jumpluff. Nice. Flare Blitz. Okay. Now what is the question? I can Rage Powder the Dragapult attacks, but I'm not, which I think is probably acceptable. I'm gonna go for Flare Blitz into the Lilligant, I think, and go for the Rage Powder with Jumpluff. The reason I'm gonna go for this play is because this covers close combat from the Lilligant as well as like Dragon Darts. This covers a lot, I think, that they could opt for. Because I just need to get Charizard in. If I can get Charizard in, I'm in a good spot. We get the Rage Powder off with Jumpluff. Don't Sleep Powder. Go for a close combat. They actually say sleep, which is... I would have preferred them waking up and get the free switch. Parting Shot or close combat does come out. Flare Blitz is going to be fired off in the Lilligant. As to Focus Sash. Okay, so the entity is not Focus Sash. Good to know. If it's not Sash Entity, this is still a bit weird. But acceptable? Dragon Darts is gonna hurt. The problem is I can't do anything with the Jumpluff, and I don't want the free... Do I want the free switch actually? Hold on. I can't let Charizard take any damage. No, I think I do have to just stay in. I'm gonna go for a double up into the Dragapult, I guess, because in case Lilligant protects for some reason. Yeah, like if they protect this... Actually, this worked out really well for me. I guess if I Rage Powder would have been better, but Darts shouldn't KO either. Oh, and they say sleep. Okay, returns. Beautiful. Beautiful. Knockoff gonna take the knockout on the Dragapult, and Dragapult goes down. Now it's Entity plus Lilligant versus the world. I think as long as I can dodge one Sleep Powder, I think I'm okay. Like, if we both hit Sleep Powders, it's gonna come down to some sleep turns. Even then, I should have an advantage. I just gotta make sure that my Charizard's in a position to overheat the what's it called, the Male Entity, and I think I should win. So we go for a Sleep Powder. We're gonna go for the Male Entity. We're also gonna go for a knock off the Male Entity. I think we do, because it might be Scarf. All right, Sleep Powder gonna come out. Does hit the Entity. It might not be Sleep Powder on the Lilligant either. It might just be like After You, since it has Protect, which is not a common move we commonly see. Yeah, they do go for the After You. Oh wait, that Sleep Powder was super valuable then, because if I didn't get the Sleep Powder off, they would have had the After You attempt into my Pokemon. But Knockoff gonna come out, knock out the Male Entity, which we'll find out the item. It was a Choice Specs. Twisted Spoon. Okay. Tailwind Peter's out, but we should have the game locked. I actually really need to hit that Sleep Powder. Okay, so it just was Sleep Powderless Lilligant. Okay. That helps. I'm just going to set up a Tailwind. I'm going to go for Flare Blitz, and then Charizard should always be able to win by clicking Weather Ball or Dragon Pulse or whatever I want to click. Not what I anticipated. Not what I anticipated. It worked out, though. It did work out. I tried to position Charizard the entire game, but just couldn't get the free opportunity to get it in and click Heat Wave. It was just really hard to, because Male Entity and Dragapult are really strong Pokemon that were just making it hard for me to set up. Dragapult, Male Entity, Sneasler, Porygon 2, the Ursaluna, and Sneasler. All right, so we have quite a few threats. We have a very fast mode, the Male Entity with the Sneasler, probably the Psychic Seed, and the Dragapult. Now, Jumpluff should outspeed Sneasler if I'm not mistaken, since they usually run Adamant. Oh wait, no, not with this Jumpluff. Trickroom's okay against them. I assume they're probably bringing Male Entity, but they also got a Porygon 2 and an Ursaluna. Charizard, it's not that bad, but it's not great at the start. Like, I'd still do a lot of damage, but I don't think it's worth it. Instant's probably a good bring. I don't really like Porygon 2 and Ursaluna. I don't think they accomplish too much. I think I like the idea of leading Jumpluff plus Torkoal, getting that Sun up immediately, and then have Charizard and Incineroar as the back two. Like, I could see my Tera fighting Porygon 2 putting in a lot of work as well, but I really want to see if I can maneuver this game with the Sun. I think like it's a challenge, but I think it's definitely viable with this 4. So my plan is to get the Sun up and get Charizard into good position. In order to do that, I need to do quite a few things. I'm a bit scared of their Male Entity, which is also why I don't want to bring the Sneasler. Okay, King Gambit and the Sneasler is an interesting lead here. Okay, Chlorophyll up. I think this is probably pretty good here. I like the idea of going Incineroar for an Intimidate to the Sneasler, who's probably just going to click Dire Claw, and I could go for a few different plays, right? I could go for a Sleep Powder and switch to Instant. I could go to Instant and click the Overheat. I kind of like the Instant idea. I like the Instant idea and clicking Overheat into the King Gambit, because the King Gambit's probably one of the bigger threats right now. It could Protect, which is okay. It's not that bad if it goes for Protect, because I still have an option to play around the next turn. I like the idea of going for the Overheat in the King Gambit, because if I catch the Male Entity, it gets to lose a Focus Sash potentially, and that would be really ideal. Because they might try to go Male Entity, get the Unburden, get the Psychic Seed boost, as well as like Dire Claw. So I want to play around it. So we'll go for this Incineroar switch. Define going to activate on the King Gambit. Let's see if it switches out or not. It is actually going to go for a Tera. I imagine this is King Gambit, because I don't think you're going to Tera with the Sneasler. We are going to see the Tera on the King Gambit. Going to be the Tera Dark. Okay. I think Torkoal should be able to live one Kowtow at least. I'm pretty sure it should be able to. So let's see. They Sucker Punched a Torkoal. Okay. Alright, Torkoal took a lot of damage. They Dire Claw, which was the Jumpluff slot, which is not too surprising. Bad Paralysis, because I would have been probably faster than the King Gambit, which would have been nice. I do get the Overheat off at least, so I do target the King Gambit. I get some pretty good damage in the King Gambit. And now I can go out into like the Jumpluff. I think they probably Sucker Punch to play around I guess they wanted to play around Tailwind plus Eruption, which is fair. I'm going to Jumpluff now. Just don't get paralyzed, Jumpluff. That's basically what I need you not to be. I'm gonna Flare Blitz the Sneasler, and I'm just gonna go for... Hey, sometimes you gotta click Sleep Powder in life, so we're gonna be clicking Sleep Powder in life. They go for Protector Sneasler, which is actually really good for me. So if I land the Sleep Powder into the King Gambit, it's super ideal. Oh, they go for Double Protect. I guess they want to Scout on the Fake Out. That's fair as well. Okay. So I Sleep Powder attempt the King Gambit. I go for the Flare Blitz into the Sneasler, which I actually get paralyzed for, which really doesn't change anything, of course. But we are going to Flare Blitz. We are going to Sleep Powder the King Gambit. We got to be a little bit cautious. They could go for Sucker Punch plus Close Combat, which I think is okay here. They already used their Tera. I'm pretty sure Charizard's in a good offensive position. If I get the Gambit asleep, I could go for Tailwind plus the Flare Blitz, but if they do decide, hey, I'm going to go for a double up into the Incineroar, that's okay as well. We do get the Sleep Powder off into the King Gambit, which is nice, so it does take a mandatory guaranteed turn of sleep. They go for the Dire Claw into Jumpluff. Okay, nice. That's perfectly acceptable. Gambit going to be asleep. Come on, Incineroar. I think I'm going to go Charizard, and I think... who's faster? Was it Gambit? That's such an annoying sleep, man. That's such an annoying sleep. Because if they now go out into the NDD, there's not much I can do. Unless they didn't bring NDD. Because I feel like they might have been able to bring out NDD earlier. I think I'm still going to go for the Flare Blitz attempt. You know what? I'm going to Flare Blitz the Gambit. I'm going to Tailwind attempt. Let's see. They protect the Sneasler, which is not too surprising. So I'm actually in a really good spot because I set up the Tailwind. Okay. I did need to read this. Please don't get paralyzed for the third time in a row, Incin. Please. This is unbelievable. Okay, at least they say asleep, but that's actually unbelievable. Okay. You know, because I've been getting unlucky, I kind of have to get some luck back, which is a terrible mindset, but I will go for my best play, which is Sleep Powder to Sneasler and Flare Blitz to Gambit. And then I'm going to Sleep Powder whatever's coming in for the King Gambit slot the next turn. We do land the Sleep Powders at least, so at least something's going right. Come on, Incin. No one gets paralyzed 3 turns in a row. Sneasler asleep. Not surprising. Okay, we finally get that Flare Blitz off. So goodbye, King Gambit. That is very nice. All right, beautiful. All right, no Sucker Punch threat anymore. If they go Porygon 2, I probably want to switch out the Incineroar and bring out my Charizard because I need to get some really big firepower off against my opponent as quick as possible. I might actually even hard switch if it's like Porygon 2 coming out. So Sun fades, which is acceptable. Who are you bringing out as your next? Is it Porygon 2? Is it Ursaluna? Ursaluna's fine. Let's see. I'm surprised that Male Entity was never brought in, so I'm kind of curious if they even have it, or they just wanted like the +1 King Gambit. They didn't really want to lose their boost, or they wanted to have the ability to keep on sucker punching in case, but this is acceptable. We're gonna see. I think that's Ursaluna. Yep, that's Ursaluna. Perfect. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna hard swap in a Charizard, and I'm just gonna attempt to Sleep Powder into the Ursaluna. Yeah, there's really no reason not to Sleep Powder Ursaluna. I could Sunny Day into Rage Powder, I guess, but I'd rather just Sleep Powder to Ursaluna because I don't think I lose too much for going with this, because the next turn I have a very safe Torkoal switch in a Heat Wave or a Sunny Day. Both are acceptable. They protect Ursaluna, which is fair. The Sneasler only took 1 turn of sleep so far, or let's see if they go for a Dire Claw or Close Combat if they wake up. But they have to wake up first, so let's see if that's going to be the case. Yep, unlucky, but that's still acceptable. Dire Claw going to come out into the Jumpluff, but I mean, I still think this is okay. It just, again, depends on the Sneasler set, but now I get the Torkoal in. I get to click Helping Hand Heat Wave, and I don't really see a huge problem at the moment because the Sneasler's at -1 intimidated, and I'm pretty sure as long as Charizard connects its attacks, we're going to be in a golden scenario. We're under Tailwind, so I don't have to Tera Ghost at the moment. So I will just go for a Heat Wave, and I will just go for a Helping Hand. There's no switch that they have here. I guess the problem is if it's Dragapult back, because if it's Dragapult back, we're actually in a lot of trouble. Depending on, yeah, I think if Dragapult back, because if Sneasler protects here, Dragapult comes in. Then Charizard probably gets doubled up. Oh, we see Bear switching out, which is not what I would have expected. Okay. Oh, it is Porygon in bag. All right. No, Dragapult is beautiful. And I mean beautiful. Okay. Helping Hand. All right, we'll get a huge amount of damage right here with Heat Wave. In Sun. Hit. Okay. That's not great. We one-shot the Porygon, which is very nice, though. Close combat the Torkoal. Not what I would expected, but sure. I guess they're gonna go for a Dire Claw endgame. Tailwind peters out. I get to go Incineroar. I click Fake Out plus Heat Wave, and then next turn I probably Tera Ghost a Charizard. Actually, do I Tera Ghost a Charizard? There's no way. It just depends on if I'm fearing like a Dire Claw crit, basically. Into Charizard. Oh, they're just gonna double protect on the Fake Out, stall out a Sun Turn. There's not really a Tera that saves me here. Did we ever reveal the Sneasler going for Fake Out? We did not. So they could have Throat Chop, but they are -2 attack. I mean, I always just Fake Out and Heat Wave. Heat Wave should KO Ursaluna unless it's like a Assault Vest for some reason. It should just be a double protect here. Yeah, exactly. Okay. This comes down to Charizard hopefully hitting Heat Wave against the Ursaluna. That is the big one right here. Because if we don't hit the Ursaluna, it will be game over. Like, we can afford to maybe miss the Sneasler, but we can't afford to miss the Ursaluna. All right, they're -2. I think I go for Tera Ghost. Actually, no, because they need a Dire Claw crit. The thing is, if they had Throat Chop, actually, I don't even think Throat Chop crit KOs. But you know what? I'd rather just go for the Heat Wave and not Tera. If they crit me, they crit me. That's basically what I'm gonna say. If they crit me, they crit me. With my luck in this game, I'm not gonna be surprised. Just hit the Heat Wave Charizard specifically into the Ursaluna and we'll be fine. I think the only way, actually maybe Tera Ghost was better because the reason is Dire Claw and the Sun is going to stack up, and if they go for if I get paralyzed on the Flare Blitz and I miss a Sneasler with Heat Wave, then it's annoying. Look, there's a lot of what if scenarios, and that's just because I got to hit moves and fight through the Dire Claw. They go for close combat into Incineroar. They don't pick up a knockout. Charizard, you got one job. They didn't even Dire Claw, man. They didn't even Dire Claw. You have one option. I could have Tera Ghosted too to dodge the Facade, I suppose, as well, which might have been a better backup. But okay, we land the Heat Wave. We KO the Ursaluna. It's Sash Sneasler? Okay, was not anticipating that. I guess that actually makes... No, because that means the male entity isn't Sash. I thought it was just going to be Psychic Seed, but okay. We land a Flare Blitz, which is incredible, so we will be able to pick up the knockout into the Sneasler. Incineroar not getting paralyzed this time. What a battle, man. What a battle. Tire Claw parried 3 times. The only one that mattered the last 2, though. The first one didn't matter because I got paralyzed on a double protect anyway as I attacked. But I hit some Sleep Powders. They did get a first turn Wake with the Sneasler. You know, it's just a game of RNG, and that's sometimes what you got to do with this team. All right, let's go over the games. In game 1, should have switched out Incineroar to Charizard turn 1, but was still able to do massive damage under Trick Room after my opponent made a really greedy Willis play, and then Charizard was able to nuke the Corviknight through its Terrifier in the end. Tried Corviknight, anyone? In game 2, had a few different options for turn 1, but got the best position possible, winning the Weather War immediately. And as soon as I was able to get Charizard back in, it was curtains for my opponent's remaining Pokemon. In game 3, I don't know what to say about this team, but was fine with losing the Torkoal immediately and predicted the Wide Guard, so I got a huge double knockout. After discovering the Hitmonchan was Life Orb, it was easy to deal with, and Gyarados couldn't come back against the remaining Pokemon I had. In game 4, Colossal should stay in Generation 8, but we just saw how weak my opponent's team was to Porygon 2 and Incineroar with no true answers. In game 5, I probably wanted Ursaluna for Terrifier and Annihilate, which did end up being trouble instead of Incineroar. Granted, because it was Vital Spirit and I didn't notice the Defiant not activating, I could have planned it better, though I was still in an awkward position with the Sun turns. However, I do think Tera ended up being a mistake since Incineroar could have pivoted around with the parting shot and not fearing a Drain Punch knockout. In Game 6, fast threats were pretty rough with the fast spread damage, but Jumpluff ended up being clutch with the Sleep Powder lands, while it ended up in a bit of an awkward spot where I should have maybe have risked hard switching into Charizard instead. It was ready on standby. In Game 7, the Dire Claw paralysis were insane in this game, but thankfully Incineroar was able to clutch up and get the attacks later off. I do think I should have went for Tera Ghost since Ursaluna probably went for Facade into Charizard, fearing the worst of a double miss, but luckily Charizard barbecued my opponent's final line. This team has a really good construction. Again, many ways to set up the Ursaluna, and it does work extremely well with each other. The synergy is incredible, even though its type chart might not be the best. Overall, the roles that it's able to do, because you have to worry about Charizard and Ursaluna, some of the Pokemon that can hit the hardest in this format, can really just rack up the damage with some really strong knockouts immediately. And if you position wrong against them, you could be in a lot of trouble. So very fun team. If you do want to try it out, there is a rental code of the team available. If you do want to try it out, hopefully it's still available by the time this video comes out. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.